Hello and welcome back to Versus Live. I'm Todd Anderson. That's Ross Merriam. We got Rob in the booth taking your questions, comments, and burns. Make sure to @ the SCG Tour in the chat if you would like us to answer any burning questions you might have. Or, what, you feel like you're going to say something?
No.
Oh.
I was just delighted by your wordplay.
Oh, nice.
When you said burning questions.
Yes. So today we are going to be playing 2 more decks featuring War of the Spark. We just had a marathon game. We didn't even play a whole match. We played one game.
We're talking about a game.
50 minutes? You talking about game? We ain't talking about practice.
Match.
We talking about practice? Talking about a game. But we had a 50-minute long game where I used a bunch of artifact synergy based.
Todd mercifully ended the game.
I had to, I think if you had one or two more turns, I might have actually ended up losing.
Yeah.
So
it wasn't a Johnny emblem. It was
yeah. Tezzeret and Master at the Bridge did 13-point swing in one turn and an 8-point swing in another turn or something like that.
Did a lot of damage.
Yeah. But that, I just had a bunch of cool planeswalkers generating artifacts, drawing cards.
Now you're basically going to do the same thing just without the planeswalkers.
Yeah. So now we're going to be playing an old favorite of mine, Temur Reclamation. Now, I'll say this. I put a lot of work into the deck, but Pascal Maynard did the final tweaks in preparation for the Mythic Championship about a month ago. And his 8-2 record put Temur Reclamation back on the map. Your recent finish at the Team Open in Cincinnati, where y'all made top 8. You played the deck and you liked it quite a bit.
Yeah, deck was solid. Metagame wasn't great for it, and it still, was still able to compete. I think if I had a little bit more practice, things would have gone better. But also, not being deathly ill all weekend like my compatriot Jim Davis, that was a tough weekend.
Yeah.
But no, the deck is very, very powerful. When you start on a turn 2 growth spiral, it looks really, really good. And one of the weaknesses of the deck is lack of early defense against aggression, because you need so many elements of the deck to contribute to your engine. And the new edition is something that should hopefully solve that problem.
Yeah. So the deck now gets to play Augur of Bolas, which is this 2-mana creature that has seen play in Standard before. It's one of a staple in Pauper, actually. A lot of the Delver decks, even though they're more aggressive, actually use it in conjunction with things like Ninja the Deep Hours. But my experience with the card was always in these Azorius or Jeskai Flash decks that use Restoration Angel. Early on, you play it. You use it to block a couple of 2-power creatures.
Look at the bottom cards of your library.
Look at the top. Yeah, look at the top 3 cards and put them all on the bottom.
Yep, in any order.
Bottom in any order you want. No, but if there's an instant or sorcery that just happens to be there, you get to put it in your hand.
That's lucky.
And this deck actually plays a lot of instants and sorceries. It's weird.
That's just good deck building.
Yeah. So this version of the deck, we are pretty similar to the previous iteration, but we just kind of squeezed in for Augur of Bolas. I don't think that's necessarily how the deck is going to be built in the future. I actually think there's a chance that Niv Mizzet is just no longer in the main deck at some point, and you're just more of a control combo deck that just kills with Expansion Explosion. But you just have that early 2-drop that buys you enough time to really start to set up. And I think that there's a chance that the deck moves in that direction. But I want to still have the hard hitters. I know that if your opponent ever just runs you out of Expansion Explosion, if you can't win the game anymore, that kind of sucks. So still got 2 Niv in there.
Got 4 Augur of Bolas. Get in there.
It works sometimes. I know you're joking, but that's not a joke.
I know.
So I'm going to be playing the Temur Reclamation deck with 4 Augur, and it's going to be mostly the same. The sideboard plan has a creature-based package that allows me to actually side out Augur of Bolas and maybe even Wilderness Reclamation if I want to. Go a little bit harder with things like Hydroid Krasis. I'm using Gift of Paradise to ramp into Biogenic Ooze and Niv Mizzet, and even O'Reilly is at Viceroy. But what are you playing?
I am playing a Bant Vannifar deck that is incorporating. I keep thinking Viridian. It's Vivian. Vivian's Arcbow, which is a sort of survival of the fittest kind of card. Like
Viridian Longbow is the card I think you're conflating.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah.
A very different card.
Yes. One is an equipment.
Yes. Vivian's Arcbow. One of the more exciting cards I think that they've previewed thus far. It has a lot of text, and I think normally an effect like this you would see stapled at the end. Activate this only anytime you could activate a sorcery.
Yeah,
and that's just not here. Maybe there was just too much text in the rest of it. They're like, yeah, we can't fit it. Just get rid of it.
Yeah.
But being able to instant speed this thing is pretty cool. Lets you leave it up in the face of sweepers and rebuild your battlefield in their end step. Lets you like EOT and find that your like removal spell creature, your Deputy of Detention, your Knight of Autumn. Lets you find like maybe Frilled Mystic if you want to put that one in your deck.
Yep.
Vannifar is sorcery speed, so I haven't gone super hard with that, but you'll probably see me explore more of the Arc Bow moving forward, since that card was just previewed, like yesterday afternoon.
Yep.
So pretty quick turnaround for us on that card. I think it works well with Vannifar and gives you a sort of secondary way to take advantage of all these value creatures. We're going to definitely be looking to end the game in this matchup because Todd's deck goes over the top, but we got plenty of interactive creatures and counter spells out of the sideboard. And Arc Bow lets us hold up our mana for our counter spells.
Yeah,
and if Todd doesn't do anything that we need to respond to, we just get to use Arc Bow, get another threat on the battlefield, and continue our pressure. So I like how it plays with counter spells, and it should really help out in this matchup.
Yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head. Instant speed, a huge deal. I like the fact that with Explore, you just always have food to pitch. Like you hit your land drops. If you have kind of a weaker creature kind of stuck in your hand, you can just choose to pitch it and activate Arc Bow for 3 to 7 or however much mana you have.
Turn 5 land where elves turns into something better.
Right.
You got these extra lands to pitch, and you do want to hit your land drops up to 6 or 7 to feed the longbow anyway. So I think it plays well with the Explore package, which is a good sign because we know that the Explore package is really good, and that helps you out against aggressive decks really well. And then you can focus on beating the more interactive decks, which Arc Bow does a good job of it as well. Yeah.
I'm also just curious how you can just like build the deck in the future, like against a control deck, being able to just say go with 4 mana up. Your opponent's counter spells get turned off. The Vivian's Arc Bow is an artifact, not an enchantment, so they can't kill it with a Mortify. So really, they're kind of stuck with just like trying to kill it with a Teferi. And if they're like Teferi minusing it, you get to activate in response, hit any creature, and then attack Teferi to death, which is pretty sweet. So there's a lot going on with this card, and honestly, I'm very excited to try it out. And it just so happens to work really well with Fibblethub.
Yeah. This card just previewed this morning that we've got a singleton copy of to tutor for with Vannifar. If we happen to hit it off of the Arc Bow, it'll be nice. And
you draw 2 cards because you play it from the deck, which is sweet.
2 cards.
Yeah. All right.
And I'm on the play.
You are on the play. Now, please ask us some funny questions. We need some content. I'm going to be mulliganing here.
I got a solid hand, though.
What is your favorite card spoiled so far, and why is it Fibblethip?
Honestly, it is Fibblethip. It's one of those iconic characters that's been on a bunch of cards. It was supposed to be just like this innocuous character that was going to get mentioned one time, and then people just loved it.
And turned into a meme.
Yeah, just turned into a meme that turned into real life. And now Fibblethip has his own card, and it's actually quite good. It's cheap. It has an effect that is traditionally good in Magic and drawing a card, and it has this interesting mechanic that makes him unique in that if he ever gets found when he's totally lost, you draw 2 cards. That's pretty cool.
I like Arc Bow. I think that card has a lot going on with it.
I thought you might. That's why I tagged you. I wanted you to see it.
But being an artifact, I think we're going to see a lot. I think early on we're going to see a lot of the artifacts overperform because people aren't going to be prepared for them. So I want to nail down my Arc Bow deck early.
All right, I have mulligan to 6. I put an Augur on the bottom, but I already have one. I just need lands. Your turn.
Ooh. Let's mush you for 1.
19.
And play Wild Growth Walker.
All right. That one's actually pretty scary sometimes.
Yeah, it's one of your better ways to just clock these decks.
All right. I'm just going to say go.
Ooh. I will play a Merfolk Branchwalker.
Yeah. So you gain 3 life. Put you to 23. Explore Vannifar.
I'm going to put that one in the graveyard.
Okay.
And I'll attack for 2.
Yep, at 17.
And I'll shock to 21 and play an Arc Bow.
21, 17. All right. In the turn, I'm going to play next Growth Spiral. Play Breeding Pool. Untap. Draw for turn. Shock to 15. Play Reclamation. Untap all my lands and say go.
Well, that's pretty good.
Now, counter spells are going to be pretty bad here against the Arc Bow, so we're going to have to try to turbo out and kill Ross pretty quick here. Because he can find one of his anti-enchantment things here.
I'm just going to play this tapped. I already have the Knight. I was thinking about leaving up 2 mana and trying to Arc Bow, but I have to discard a card for that. I'd rather just get it and point. Yep. So we blow that up. We attack for 5.
That's 3, 4, 5, 6. Just me.
Yeah, 6. Sorry. 9.
9.
Pass a turn.
All right, let's Chemist turn. Draw 2. Untap. Draw for turn. Play a Wilderness Reclamation. Untap my lands.
Anything else?
I don't think so. Your turn. I wanted to draw land, but obviously drawing Reclamation was still pretty good too.
Shadelight Ranger.
Sure.
First Explorer. I'll leave that one there. So 3 and 2 here. I gain 6 life, go to 27. Attack you for 9.
Okay. I will Shivan Fire the Branch Walker.
That's a tilt.
Take 6.
Well, hold on. Oh, I don't have a card in my hand.
Yeah.
Ah!
It's fine.
Why am I so bad at playing with new cards? That's fine, I guess. In that case, I'm going to attack with this one too, because we're not going to use this anyway.
Sure. Okay.
So this dies. Attack for, so you take 7, go to 2.
Mhm.
Pass.
Definitely threw this game away, I think. I could have played Augur Bolus on 2 instead of Growth Spiral and prevented quite a bit of damage. So, funny. Let's see. Does Cannonade even do anything? I'm at 2.
I got 2 creatures that survive Cannonade.
Yeah.
So even if you Cannonade plus fire one of them, I will have lethal.
All right. Us, Augur, top 3. Well, we hit 3 that we can take, but we're dead, I think.
Well,
Whatever.
now
We'll
if
take
you
this.
now if you have Cannonade plus fire, you're not dead.
All right, we'll play Growth Spiral. Yeah, whatever. I'm dead.
Okay.
I could have played another Reclamation and then gone for. Let's see. I can't shock, so I play my land tapped. I can go Explosion for some amounts and try to leave open 3 for a Cannonade, but I think I still leave you with a creature. And I'm at 2, so I'm just dead. But I don't know. That was a tough game. I think I should have just played Augur Bolus early on. But in this matchup, I think a lot of my counterspells can come out. I should just be a little less reliant on... like, obviously, you have Vannifar, but you also have, like, a bunch of ways to kill my Wilderness Reclamation. So I think I might actually just side them out. And just rely on removing the creatures, not playing counterspells, and just tapping out, like, every turn for bigger and badder threats.
I think I'm going to cut Vannifar.
All right. Robbie, anything, buddy?
Spring rolls or egg rolls?
It depends on the restaurant, I think, but they're both quite good. Just depends on the quality of the ingredients inside them. Literally just, I don't know. What is a spring roll even made of?
The spring rolls.
What's the outside?
The spring rolls are usually fried on the outside, but they're the thinner, smaller ones.
No, I know, but what's the outside of it made of?
Rice paper.
Rice paper. That's what I was gonna say. But I didn't want to sound stupid.
I'm not sure that I'm right, but it makes sense.
I'll say spring roll. But I think on average, your average spring roll is way better than your average egg roll. All right, so 3, 7, 10. I got to cut 3 more cards. I don't want to cut the augurs, even though we are going to be cutting some instant sorceries. So it's going to be a bit worse. But it still plays defense early, which I like. Anything else, Rob?
Do you think that it's possible if the arc bow goes up in popularity that people try to play hostage taker to answer it to some degree?
Sure. No, that sounds like a great answer. I think hostage taker in general is just very good, and giving it more targets is fine.
Yeah, I mean, hostage taker is already seeing a lot of play, so that's just an easy answer to it. So I'm cutting Prime Speaker here because it's sorcery speed. Todd should have like better answers to it or ways to trump that kind of value, and I don't want to be tapping out too much. My goal here is to like get an advantage on the first 3 turns of the game. Maybe turn 4 play another 2-drop like a Branch Walker to pump a Wild Growth Walker plus hold up counter spells, and then go from there. So I'm cutting the 4 mana spell here. I think Biogenic Ooze is a card that like can help me recover from a heavy disruption draw that I can tap out for once, and then like hold up interaction while using the mana on it. if Todd doesn't force me to respond. Even though Todd's bringing out his reclamations, I'm gonna act as though I'm still expecting them. The Knight of Autumn can still tag Gift of Paradise, which is nice.
Yeah.
And just be a 3-mana 4/3. Like the Elephant and Knight is a lot of pressure, and then the Knight won't die to Cannonade.
All right, we're going to be cutting Reclamation and the counter spells. I think the counter spells are quite bad here. I just want to tap out like every turn. We're going to have a little bit of natural ramp with Gift of Paradise into Niv. Hydrocrisis to just like let all my sweepers just kind of do their work. And hope it turns out okay. Like we're playing more of a fair game because we're cutting the Reclamations and we're not going to have Reclamation Explosion. But this is kind of why I built the sideboard the way it was anyway, just in case I did play against a deck with a bunch of disenchants. I had the ability to just cut them. But it's possible that cutting them is just stupid. I'll say that. I don't cut it very often, even in the face of a million disenchants or whatever. Like, you just have to have it sometimes to cast big explosions to kill them.
Yeah.
You know? Chemist's Insight gets a lot worse when you don't have counterspells and Reclamation. But I want to try out Augur of Bolas, so we're just going to do what we're doing.
Augur is definitely the card that can buy you time to cast a Chemisters too.
Yeah. All right, I'm going to keep mine.
Yeah, I'll keep this.
All right, your turn.
Certainly does a thing. I'll shock to 18 and play Line of Wells. Pass.
I thought the joke about Augur was all it did was showed you the bottom 3 cards of your library.
Yeah, that is what it does. But it blocks. So
Right.
18 all?
Yeah.
Todd, 2 for 2 on turn 2 Growth Spirals.
Sure. You mad?
Nope. You're up.
16 pass. How many times did you have turn 2 Growth Spiral in the open?
A lot on camera, as Jerry noted, but not as much off camera.
Sure.
Branch Walker. I'm gonna bin this.
Okay.
Play a tap Temple Garden and attack for 1.
All right, 15. I'm going to cast a
Pass.
Chemisters and draw 2.
Yep.
All right, then I'll draw for turn. And say go. Probably just going to Chemisters again, but we have some options.
Attack for 3.
I'll go to 12.
And please don't have a sweeper.
Trigger resolves. You get the 2/2, and then I'm going to cannonade.
What did I just say?
I have 4 of them.
You have 4 of them?
I have 2 main, 2 board. Look,
Jesus.
you cut one. I don't cut one. I know how important that card is in a number of matchups and a number of situations.
It's important in one matchup.
I'll make a 4/4 and draw 2 cards. Gain 2 life.
I'm
at
dead.
14. You are dead. It's because my deck is great.
I have all lands. And a 4/3.
Nice.
You can go.
And that's why we cut the Wilderness Reclamation.
You're at 17.
All right. Attack.
14.
All right. You're 14. I'm at 14 as well, I believe.
You gained 2 off the
Yeah.
Crisis?
I was at 12.
Oh, yeah.
Attack.
I was too busy praying that you didn't have a sweeper to mark down the life total change.
Okay. I'm going to break even on life and just draw 2 cards and make a 5/5 since it's slightly bigger. Can block. So we stay at 14.
Go.
All right. Attack you for 9.
I'm at 5.
All right. And play Gift of Paradise on this.
Yep.
I go up to 17.
Yep.
Islands, go. Okay. All right. Worked out like a charm. Exactly how we drew it up. Back to the drawing boards. We did it. We're doing it. Robert, help me.
Tana was getting mad at you, Ross, for complaining about 2 for 2 on Growth Spiral and you were 4 for 4 on camera.
Well, Tannen was
Got
very
him.
far away.
Although-
Drag him.
Although I will
Drag
say,
him, Tannen.
I was both happy and sad at one of your off-camera matches when you were playing a team of my friends, and you were very happy that Tannen and Jim won because you said you were getting bodied, I believe.
Yeah. I fanned open a hand in game 1 of that match that was like creature removal spells and like lands. And I'm like, okay, this hand's really good against creatures. Like, look over my opponents. This guy playing a creature deck? And yeah, I think he is. Keep Esper control.
Nice.
Can't win in a million years.
Oh, yeah. No, it feels bad, man. Luckily, this deck is built so you only have like 6 actual dead cards, and with 4 chemisters inside, a lot of times you get to discard them. And then when you have a Niv Mizzet on the battlefield, you actually just get to cycle Shivan Fire for 1 red mana, and that happens quite often.
Yeah, that didn't happen in those games.
Oh, that sucks.
I got my revenge on Esper later in the tournament. Okay, I'm on the play.
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully my hand doesn't run ahead first into Fiery Cannonade again. Maybe I'm supposed to have Tristani instead of Biogenic Ooze if you have 4 Cannonades.
Maybe.
I don't think this hand is very good.
Well, I'm mulliganing, so feel free to
It's
mulligan.
5 lands, Merfolk Branchwalker, Biogenic Ooze.
No, it's awful. What are you talking about? My hand was 1 land, and you should never keep a 1-land hand with this deck, except if you have 2 ops and you're on the draw. I think it's about where I would sit. With Augur Bolus, you actually just want to play more lands as well, because Augur doesn't draw raw cards. It filters for spells. So you just want to make sure you hit your land drops early. So it's possible that you might want to go up to 27 lands in a deck that plays Augur.
Here's an interesting question.
All right.
How do you evaluate a set as high-powered? What convinces you a set is a strong one?
Just the density of cards that break out into the format immediately, or it also depends, right? Like whenever there's a big rotation in the fall, you lose a year's worth of cards and you only gain 1 set. So if that set is powerful, it's going to be basically the emphasis of the new standard format. And if it's not that powerful, then you're basically just adding a few cards to the pool that over the previous year, and any deck that didn't lose a whole lot is going to still be on top. I think that you start to see whether or not a set is truly powerful if you're somewhere in the summertime, a set comes out, or maybe even in May, and it just completely changes the landscape. Like you get a mechanic that's busted and it starts to overtake the format, like just being the best deck, or it just has a swath of cards that just fit into existing archetypes, and there is no one thing. It's usually just a combination of a bunch of different aspects of the set. So
Usually if the set is artifact focused, it's busted.
yeah, that's been the case, or I guess just colorless based, because the Eldrazi sets were all busted too. So
I'm keeping the 6, even though it is awkward.
we just want lands. So I'm gonna,
Ditto.
even though Cannonade is obviously good here, we just want land.
Harbor Pass.
That's a yikes. Go.
Uh,
If you go Elf Pass and no land, oof, that's not bad. I'm gonna learn my lesson here. Just playing Augur Bolus. Top 3. Let's see if I get anything. Not looking good, Augur of Bolus. Not looking very good.
play a Branchwalker.
Sure.
Get a Temple Garden. Get a counter on here. I'm going to go to 21 and play a Llanowar Elves.
Okay.
Pass a turn.
All right. I'm going to play a Growth Spiral.
Yep.
I'll play my Land Shock. Land for turn.
So you're 18.
Play another Augur Bolus. Take a Chemisters.
That's lucky.
Your turn.
Jade Light Ranger.
Sure.
Temple Garden. Ugh.
You said you wanted lands.
I've drawn enough. I'm at 27. Attack you for 4. Just wanted one spell, but like both my Explore creatures hit
All right.
all lands.
16 to 20. Or sorry, 14 to 20.
To 27.
20.
I've gained 9.
Any shocked ones?
Yeah.
Sure.
Play tap Temple Garden, pass. This is where I'm really going to get punished for not having Tristani and instead having Biogenic Ooze. Okay, main phase Chemisters is weird.
I just didn't have a land. I'm going to... I know you have a Temple Garden, so there's no
Yep.
real reason to Shiv and Fire, so we'll just say go.
Play a Bugler.
Sure.
Top 4.
Hey, it has 3 toughness. Nice. You're doing it. Uh-oh.
It's an interesting card.
Oh. Yeah, I don't know if you should actually do it, but
I know.
you do get in 4 points of damage, but...
You're at 14.
Yeah.
I kind of like doing it.
All right.
It's gonna force like a bad removal spell too. Like if you tap out to Shivan Fire this,
All right.
am I even mad?
You're putting me to 6. That's fine.
Yeah. So you're at 6. You can go. This would be so much better if I just had one counter on one of these Explorer creatures. I guess if Todd has like Cannonade into Shivan Fire for the Deputy, that's kind of bad.
Lucky for you, to just have like nothing. So.
Oh, that's good.
I mean, I have the Shivan Fire, but like I don't have much else. I guess I'm gonna play around a negate or something and just get these 2 back.
2 triggers.
Yep. Miss.
Welcome to that Augur Bowl's life.
Okay, great.
Yeah. Keviser's already had one of those.
Yeah.
Let's toot the horn again.
Okay.
Ugh. Gonna Knight of Autumn, I guess.
Man, I could really use something about now. Something off the top of my deck.
Okay, mush with all of my creatures that can attack. So you chump Wild Growth and eat something else, you go to 1.
Yep.
So you're at 1. And then I will play Hinterland Harbor and Knight of Autumn.
Yep.
Make it a 4-3.
Yep.
You can go.
Gotta draw a candidate to have a shot. Didn't draw a candidate.
Even if you Cannonade, copy it.
I go block, candidate, copy, sweep.
Okay, yeah. Well, this is 6 toughness, so that's still
I would chump and sweep the rest.
Yeah, sweep the rest.
Then I tap and play a Hydroid Crisis that's bigger than 4 power. Do I have an out? Let's see. Can I play like a 4/4, go to 3, block, Shivan Fire doesn't do anything. Okay. Can I go to 2, find Cannonade, go block, Cannonade, still die to this. Chemister, just don't have enough. Give to Paradise, go to 4, play 2, go to 5, play a Crisis, draw 1 card, block, take
5.
Shivan Fire this, block, take 5. Yeah, I'm dead. Okay. Tried all the iterations. None of them worked.
At least in one of them, the Knight of Autumn was relevant. I felt stupid for playing it after you were going through. A lot of the draws would have punished me for it, so I just had lands.
Yeah. It's possible that on the draw, even though we need the lands, if we just keep the cannonade because it represents so much time, it's possible that we just end up winning that game like pretty easily, which is unfortunate. I guess it's hindsight's 2020 or whatever. So you want to play more?
We got time?
I don't know.
340? We got time for one more game.
All right.
First, though.
I
shipped on marbles.
Really? After today, you want the marbles? Look, we're trying to be a family show here. All right. So here's your stupid marbles back. Like over here, like, you know, just trying to build some fun, interesting decks, not trying to be hyper competitive.
As you shuffle up your Temur Reclamation deck?
This has not won a tournament. I don't even know if it's good. It just is fun, and I like it.
It is really fun.
Yeah. All right. I don't know if I should actually have Reclamation in my sideboard. Feels dumb. But we did win game 2 pretty easily, so maybe. Maybe we just need to draw Niv. Ever.
Or Fiery Cannonade.
Or Fire Candidate, yeah. Or hit on our Augur's Bolus, you know, and just hit anything that's not Chemister's inside. All right. Robert, anything for us while we're playing an extra fun game?
Yeah, this has nothing to do with Ross, but
I don't care then.
Thoughts on the new War of the Spark trailer?
I thought it was awesome. I very much enjoyed the kind of like the story that was put into such a small time frame, like in the window. Like there's like no words said in the whole friggin' trailer, and there's just like a lot of emotion behind it and stuff. So I liked it a lot. I think it's insane that it has over 4 million views. I know it was like top 5 trending on YouTube for like a day. And
I can make a video with 4 million views.
can you? Well, then how come you haven't made Versus Live have more hits on YouTube?
You know, it's a good question. Land where else?
Yeah. Hey, we drew land. Nice. All right, let's put 3 on the bottom. Oh, we hit. Nice.
God, you're so lucky.
Well, I needed lands, and I put lands on the bottom, so.
Okay. 2-2.
Yeah.
Augur Bolus is
pretty
really good against 2-2s, though.
It's true.
Okay. I'll put 3 cards on the bottom, too.
Nice. Go.
Todd, any thoughts on adding an emergent zone to a reclamation deck?
I don't think
Anything you do
so.
with it?
I don't think it's very good. Resolve. Block.
Found the line. You can go.
I mean, I don't want to expound too much on it because I haven't actually played with it at all. I don't think it's very good.
I didn't play the right land. I need to shock
You're
myself.
going to shock yourself?
Yep.
Okay, nice. I will Growth Spiral.
Yep.
Upkeep. Pop your elf.
Also, somebody asked how many views does
You're
Sad
at
Ross
19.
have on YouTube, and currently,
You can go.
Journey into the Mind of Ross Merriam has 13,000 views, so you're a little away from 4 million there.
Ross, you just going to let him drag you like that?
We're getting there. It's a marathon, Rob.
Go. For how good Fire Cannonade looked in the previous game,
Shock
it
to
doesn't look
16.
nearly as good. Yeah, sure.
Plus.
Yep. I'm in trouble. I just can't win.
You can go.
All right, draw 2.
Yep.
Draw for turn. Why didn't you attack? Just a coward.
Oh, yeah, I probably should have done that. Whatever.
You would have got destroyed. All right, I'm gonna make a 3/3 and draw 1 card. Gain 1 life.
So you're at 20?
Yep. And your go.
Any cards you're excited to build with for Thursday?
I'm still waiting on a couple things from the next few days. Whatever gets previewed, you win. I don't want to play anymore. Let's just talk about the decks. This deck has a serious problem actually dealing with Wild Growth Walker, which is kind of why and Vivian actually, which is kind of why the sideboard plan originally had
You're not
3
like that
Phoenix.
dead.
All right, whatever. Take 4.
You're at 16. 16 all. You can go.
Okay. I don't have Wilderness Reclamation in my deck anymore to combo with Explosion to actually kill Vivian. That is a deck building error.
Play Niv-Mizzet.
You just get a minus.
Yeah, they'll kill Vivian.
Sure. I will play a Niv. Here go. Anyway, I want to wait a couple more days, but I think I'm just curious to see what other people build and post on Twitter and stuff. And if I see something that I really like,
I want to play Fibblethip.
okay, sure. That's play the Fibblethip, kill the Niv down. I'll draw a bunch of cards and have your negate back up. All right, block, take
7
7.
brings you to 9. So I guess I'll play this Knight of Autumn
Okay.
as a 4/3 and pass the turn.
Ooh.
Wish I had drawn more Arc Bow. We didn't really get to see that card.
Yeah.
I played it in game 1 and just didn't get to the point where I was done playing my normal stuff.
Go.
You're at 9.
I'm at 9.
Attack with everybody.
I'll play candidate.
So that's going to outright kill these and let you trade for these.
Yep.
And then you'd go to 5.
Yep.
And if I counter it, then you block here, take 2, 4, 7, 8, go to 1. And what do you do to not die?
I have no idea. Candidate plus copy.
2 more cannonades.
Mhm.
But I think letting you, like, if I just untap with you at 5 and me having these two, I'm more likely to die even with the negate. Like a Krasis or another Niv-Mizzet, any big creature, Biogenic Ooze would be a big problem. So I'm just going to negate that.
Okay.
How do you want to block?
Gonna Shivan Fire the 3/2.
That's pretty good.
You would have got destroyed if you let that cannonade resolve. Because I get to do that, and then I get to go block here, just take the 4. Oh wait, no, then the Shivan. I guess whatever. You could have countered the Shivan Fire. Things would have been different. Anyway.
Yeah.
I will block. I'm at 9.
Yeah.
Here and take 7.
Go to 2. Play Hinterland Harbor and pass.
Yeah, 1 card.
Yep.
Opt. All right. Play an Augur.
Yep.
Great. Go.
So you need a kill spell in addition to 3 blockers here to not die. And it can't be a cannonade.
Yeah, you win.
Attack with everybody.
Man, it's almost like I conceded 5 turns ago.
But I
You
wanted
got to play Fibble.
Yeah,
It's
I
worth
want-
it.
Oh yeah, sure. That's fair.
want
got
to play,
to see
want
the
to play
king.
Fibblethip.
Yeah, this matchup seems not great, but also I just cited out a bunch of my win conditions, so it's possible that that's just idiotic. Augur Bolus didn't seem very good. Not gonna lie.
How many spells you got in there?
I don't know, probably not enough. Especially after sideboard. Like
Yeah, that might be the issue.
I only took out 3 things that it hit, and I added in 2 cannonades, so I only went down 1. But it's possible that with
You're starting with 26 lands
I have 6 creatures, 26 lands, 32, so you're already
and 4
and then
reclamation.
4 reclamation, and I think
30.
everything else is a hit.
So 24.
Yeah.
That's the low end, but it's acceptable.
Yeah, it's possible that it's just not that good though, because it's only digging for more card draw a lot of times. Like it finds Growth Spiral, Chemisters, and the old decks. They used to be like with Restoration Angel, you'd be playing basically operating only at instant speed. The things you were finding weren't card draw effects because like your Augur of Bolus and your Snapcaster Mages were the card draw effects, and then you had I think a couple of Sphinx's Revelations, which we could just be playing a couple of
You were finding
Spatial
Azorius
Explorer.
Charms and counter spells, and
they were interactive things like removal spells, counter spells, and in this scenario, like I'm literally just like spinning my wheels too much, and I think I just have to have Reclamation for me to want to do that. But at the same time, there was a lot of tension between Augur Bolus and Growth Spiral. Like in game 1, I went for Growth Spiral into turn 3 Reclamation and Chemisters, and you just killed my Wilderness Reclamation. I ended up taking like an extra 4 points or so from a Wild Growth Walker that I wouldn't have taken.
Yeah, so Augur Bolus definitely was a serviceable blocker in those games, though.
Sure.
Blocked 2 toots a lot.
Yeah, and it's going to shine against things like mono red and mono white, where you just kind of force them to overplay into a fiery cannonade or something.
Yeah, they have some draws that can like make 3/2s to attack into it, but those are still going to die to cannonade, and you don't get a jump in and then sweep their board or whatever. So I'm interested. I wonder if it means you want to move away from that like creature heavy sideboard plan though.
For sure. It was just something I was kind of toying with in my head. So just more spell-based sideboard probably better. I don't think you should ever side out Wilderness Reclamation. Even if it dies, you're usually gaining something out of it. And the way that the games go, a lot of times you play a Wilderness Reclamation and your opponent can only kill 1, and then you have enough mana to play another on the same turn, and then that allows you to play Explosion for like medium sized, which draws you into more Wilderness Reclamation and more Explosion.
Yeah.
And without that, I was kind of just treading water way too often.
It also makes the game harder for your opponent because they have a turn where maybe they had planned to do something else that would make their clock better or hold up mana for a counter spell, and you play this Wilderness Reclamation, and suddenly like they have to deal with that immediately. So they're going to tap out for their Vivian or their Knight of Autumn or Conclave Tribunal, whatever they have, and then you get another sort of free turn where they're not putting you under as much pressure as they otherwise would. Maybe another free turn under a counter spell to resolve another Reclamation or resolve a key card draw spell or key sweeper that then forces them to tap out again to reestablish a battlefield. So there's a lot to be said about how how it lets you control the way the game sequences because it's such a powerful card. And obviously, if it lives, you just take over. So I agree with you. I didn't want to move away from it entirely, even though it certainly cost you there in game one, because it's just the card that lets you go so over the top.
Yeah, I think the odds of you playing against a Knight of Autumn in previous standard format is pretty low, and that type of a card where it's an answer on top of more pressure is something that the deck can struggle with. And we saw in game one, like that tempo boost was just a little too much for me to handle, and combined with a creature with just enough toughness where I can't kill it with kick Shivan-Fire, like I just died to a Wild Growth Walker, and like, you know, it's fairly common for a deck with red base removal to die to a 6 toughness creature that costs 2 mana. Like I think that's just going to happen.
Yeah. The Wild Growth Walker and the Jadelight Ranger has been good for many months now. It's going to keep being good.
Yeah. Okay, we didn't see a lot of Arc Bow, but I think in game one, like you just had enough pressure, and if I had the right answers for your creatures, like getting to turn that Jadelight into like a Biogenic Ooze or something at instant speed is pretty huge.
Yeah.
You also just knew the top card of your deck was another Jadelight Ranger, so maybe like if you had hit a land, you could have just like passed turn, you know, end of turn, discard the land, get the other Jadelight Ranger on top. So knowing the top card of your deck is potentially really powerful with Arc Bow as well.
Yeah, I think Arc Bow is going to want you to really condense your curve and sort of become that great follow-up. When you curve really nice to like 2, 3, 4, on turn 5 you play Arc Bow, and then you can either pair it with a piece of interaction or hold up mana for a counter spell, or hold up mana and activate it and get another 3-drop onto your battlefield. So I think it actually pairs well with like Militia Bugler and Jadelight Ranger, the way this deck is built. So maybe you just don't need Vannifar, and then you can trim some of the like weird one-ofs and be a little bit more consistent with the way the curve works. Maybe more Fibble Thips, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I'm personally
Mystics.
Yeah, I mean, things that have these sweet ETBs, like I think is definitely where you want to be. And Vannifar feels like this card that kind of counteracts with the way the rest of the deck, because it's like not only is it a huge target for any spot removal spell because it doesn't have an immediate effect, but it's like the only card in your deck that gives your opponent like a big
free trade, yeah.
Right. And everything else is a 2-for-1, so you're spending 4 mana to give your opponent just like this huge target. And without something like Rhythm of the Wild to give it haste as well as make it uncounterable, I'm kind of under the impression that Vannifar is not very good just because it has summoning sickness. But I would love to see like a Temur version of Vannifar that plays Arc Bow. You lose out on Bugler and a couple of the sweet white cards like Tristani, and I could even see so far as going like 4 colors, you know, with some of the mana base. So I don't know. I think that there's a lot of room to work. I'm really wanting to see Riverwise Augur. I think that card's really cool with Arc Bow because you can just put something back on top, discard a land, shuffle the dead cards away. I don't know.
Yeah,
there's a lot of cool things.
That was more good with Vannifar, but
sure.
I just read Tristani. I was hoping it would say gain control of all permanents that you own, so that if your opponent takes your hostage takers your bow, you can get it back. It's only creatures.
Oh, that's unfortunate.
Disappointing.
Right. Mr. Robert, what we got for me?
What about Murmuring Mystic in your Reclamation deck again?
I mean, it's fine. I've had it before. You want
with Augur.
It is good with Augur, but the more like Niv Mizzet, Augur of Bolas, Murmuring Mystics you play, the worse Augur Bolas gets. I mean, right now we have 6 creatures, and then the 4 Reclamation. That already puts us at what, 24 hits, and every Mystic is just fewer hits, and we miss on Augur Bolas. I mean, probably a little more than we would like statistically should, but at the same time, it's still
24 out of 60 is 40%. So, roughly, 60% cubed is 21.6%. So you're 78.4%.
Sure.
And you're a little bit better than that, actually. So you're like 80%.
So what we should be doing with Augur is probably playing 4 opt for sure, lowering the land count, and then I don't know if it necessarily needs to be into a Wilderness Reclamation shell, but in general, just the lower your land count is and higher your instant sorcery count, the better Augur is going to be. No one cares about the math. It's fine.
No, I was right. I was right the first time.
So yeah, I mean, Augur is going to miss some amount of time. The times it does miss is pretty bad. Like, without Restoration Angel to continually generate that same effect to dig for one specific thing, I don't know. Without Reclamation, though, I don't think that you have enough mana to want to play Chemister's Insight in a deck with Augur of Bolas.
Yeah, it's definitely awkward. All the decks that you think like might want a card like Augur play these non-instant sorcery permanents. You know, like you think of Nexus of Fate playing Reclamation and Teferi if it's Bant.
And even Search for Escanto.
Yeah, and Search for Escanto. So a lot of things it's competing with. So maybe it just doesn't make it. But you know, one of the things that this Temur deck struggles with is early aggression from these 1-mana 2/1s. So it seems like the 1/3, you know, fills a hole. Maybe it's kind of a sideboard card. You want like a couple in the sideboard for those matchups.
Maybe. I mean, there's something to be said about being able to like play Augur and find Cannonade.
Yeah,
You know, Fire Cannonade is a pretty huge.
a nice little curve.
Yeah, and it doesn't die to it too, which is nice. So
And you open up that space to play Chemisters on turn 4, and you play some more removal on turn 5, and then visit them on turn 6, and everything's hunky dory.
all right, Mr. Rob.
All right, one more. What do you think about Davril Rogue Shadow Mage? Have you seen that?
This is the Tom Ross invitational card.
Yes. Two in a black at the beginning of each opponent's upkeep. If that player has one or fewer cards in hand, Davril Rogue Shadow Mage deals 2 damage to them, 3 loyalty, -1. Target player discards a card. Do you think that has a place in 8-rack and Modern?
I don't know about 8-rack and Modern. I think the card is very good. You know, the card's great,
It's like a slow mind rot.
but it's also the rack.
If you just sit there and leave it on 1 and it never dies.
Right, but I mean, it's like a sideboard card in a rack deck. It's not. I'm not saying it's like great in standard. Like,
Okay.
I'm just saying I think the card's good.
Uh,
These cards are not always, you know, designed with standard in mind. Like,
Sure. If you want to put it in your rack deck as in like another rack that also has some discard cards, yeah, I could see it doing that. But I'm just gonna defer to Tom on that part.
yeah, I mean, you already play 4 Liliana of the Veil in the deck, so like having another Planeswalker might not be that bad. I think you could maybe get it so you play 4 Lily, some number of that card, and then maybe just go back to like the old Ensnaring Bridge versions. You know, Ensnaring Bridge is like seeing a lot more play nowadays, so I don't know.
Yeah, I think it's sort of like a role player. You don't want a bunch of them because it's worse than Liliana. Like the utility of Liliana is important. But that's one of the more interesting ones because there's really a lot of tension between like, do I minus it or leave it in play?
Mm-hmm.
You know, that extra, it's worth a full card.
I honestly wish it was it had the ability to minus 1 time and it was a Mind Rot, so it was literally just Mind Rot that stuck around and was potentially the rack. Like, I think that
-2 mind rot them starts on 3.
Yeah, I mean, in this juncture, it's like very rarely in standard do you have enough space to play enough discard spells to keep your opponent so low on resources. And the way that it's built, it's a Planeswalker. So if you know, the decks that normally run out of cards are going to be aggro decks, and if they can just attack it for 1 point of damage to get it off the battlefield, like it's not doing enough for me, honestly.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of these Planeswalkers are definitely underpowered relative to where we think of a Planeswalker, which is why we have to sort of recalibrate,
right?
Like which ones we usually judge the Planeswalker on immediate impact, and look, these have much lower immediate impact, and we're gonna have to judge them more as sort of spells that have a marginal impact, and like, yeah, a lot less of them are gonna see play then. Like we got 36 Planeswalkers. How many are gonna see constructed play? Like 4?
I think closer to 10. I just think that they're all going to need their own home, and we just have to think of them differently because they are Planeswalkers, but they're not. Like, they're not Planeswalkers in any form that we have seen ever.
Yeah, not in the sense that Planeswalkers have warped the way Magic is played.
Seemed a little salty about that.
No, I think it's actually great.
Okay.
I think Magic got a lot better as a game. I think before that, everybody complains about like the Planeswalkers being the sub game that run away with it, but before then, like there was just a lot less tempo. We were getting there because creatures were getting better, and like maybe we would have gotten there anyway. But it feels like Planeswalkers really pushed them to do it. So like I credit Planeswalkers with being this turning point in the way the game was balanced between the card advantage engine of things and the tempo side of things. And we went way more towards the tempo side of things, which I think is way more interesting and less intuitive, which I like. And I like playing that kind of Magic more than I like playing grindy attrition Magic anyway.
Yeah, I mean, there's something to be said about cards that sit on the battlefield and accrue advantage as opposed to, you know, every creature just being a grizzly bear or a Savannah Lions, right?
Yeah.
And then Planeswalkers just take that one step further where they're, you know, they require a different type of answer. But as long as the the cards seeing print can affect planeswalkers and other things. Like it's rare that a planeswalker is going to be the end all be all. Like it's the fact that there's always a safety valve that can be attacked. And then there's got to be some number of cards that can interact with it, and we've seen quite a few in standard over the last few years. And I don't know. Anyway, let's wrap it up. We got more War of the Spark standard. We're going to be playing on Thursday versus live 1 p.m. Eastern time. Ross's article went up today.
Yep. The deck that we played in that second game, the Orzo Sacrifice deck, is in that article, along with further exploration of Dreadhorde Invasion. If that's something that tickles your fancy, you can check that one out on StarCityGames.com.
Yep, and I went over Bolas the Citadel in my article that came out today, so make sure to check those 2 articles out if you're interested in, I don't know, like an experimental frenzy that you can play all the spells with your life total. It's a really sweet card. It's one of those cards that's going to be impossible to evaluate without actually playing with it first. Like my first instinct today when I played with the card was I need to lower the overall casting cost of the things in my deck because like I have Karns and other planeswalkers and things like that, and Wrath Effects
like all 1 through 3s.
Yeah, just a bunch of things like Revitalize or whatever, and I think it would be great. And ways to reset the top of your deck, whether it's treasure map, those are all good. Now, and you also need things that have like an impact on the battlefield, whether that's creatures or whatever. Like how cool would it have been if you just hit 6 mana and your freaking sacrifice deck and you play a Bolas Citadel and then you play a couple things off the top of the deck and then you just sack 10 permanents, drain your opponent for 10 with your
Cruel
Celebrant, and then they take 10 more. That's awesome. And all your stuff costs 1 and 2, so you just play it off the top. And if you get stuck with a land on top, you use your Priest of the Forgotten Gods, draw a card, reset the top of your deck, and then keep going.
That's pretty sweet.
Right. We did it. We did it. We just figured it out right now.
With our powers combined.
Yes. All right. So, Bolas Citadel, Orzhov Sacrifice. Go read those decks. Try to smush them together somehow. Yeah. I don't know. That's all I got.
Subs.
Got some subs.
All right. Hit us.
In the games, Blade Knight 88, Papa John's Napkins, Mr. Pawtastic, Spoony Mangoes, and MJ Goin. Thank you to all of our subs.
I appreciate those resubs and subs and the new subs. Yeah, today was fun. We didn't get to see a ton of the new cards in action, but I think that's going to be the case when we only have like 1 or 2 in the deck. Sometimes you just don't draw them.
Always ramps up over the couple weeks.
Tezzeret at the Bridge, Master of the Bridge. Pretty sweet. The minus ability, and who cares? The plus ability.
It's very
Train your opponent for a lot. Card's nice.
Yeah.
And then ultimate, who cares? Doesn't matter. Plus, kill your opponent. That's the part that matters.
Yeah, they're going to die before that card holds.
They're going to die if you get to tick that up twice. And if they don't die, your deck is built poorly. I don't know. That card felt really stupid. Like in a weird, like the fact that the other 2 abilities just didn't matter was very weird.
It's also strange to have a planeswalker that like pluses in a way that kills them so quickly.
Yeah.
Like it has so much loyalty that you need to deal with, and you're going to die if you don't deal with it.
Yeah. So pretty, just an interesting design. And again, they're exploring with the mechanics of the planeswalkers and the designs of them. So I'm fine with it. So that was cool. The Vivian's Arcbow. I want to test that out more.
Yeah.
I might be bringing an Arcbow deck on Thursday.
Oh, no, shotgun.
Look, I always play the deck with very few creatures. You always play the deck with a lot of creatures. Let's mix it up a little bit.
Sure, I'll build decks without creatures, but I'm building an Arcbow deck.
Okay, fine.
I can get to activate Arcbow all today.
Well, that's because you're dumb and you messed up.
I did mess up.
Yeah. All right. Well, thanks for watching Versus Live, everybody. We'll see you again on Thursday, same time, same channel here at the SCG Tour channel. If you're watching this on YouTube, make sure to follow us on Twitch. It's twitch.tv/SCG Tour. That's Ross Marion. I'm Todd Anderson. We'll see you next time.